So I'm gonna read this just real quick to you so we have that. So this is from Carol Wilk. She says, "Greetings all. I have spoken at great length with John Santani and have also watched the video overview of how the Flock security system works. I would like to let the board and management company know that I support the purchase of this security system for Santa Fe. I'll have Rob open it for discussion, but I'm going to make a motion at this time. Santa Fe Ranch Property Owner Association purchases Flock Safety Security System for and to enhance ranch security, and to furthermore add to the budget a new item called ranch security to budget and raise dues of $10 per year, only to be used for ranch security, not for roads, not for anything else, to pay for the system and pay for the additional subscription in the following years. And I've explained the cost. So with that, I would like to, I guess, open it up for discussion, Rob.
Well, the motion is to move forward with a putting together a line item for ranch security, for adding $10 a year per parcel to ranch security, and to look at the contracts with our attorney from Flock Safety, with the intention of putting in a Flock system to safeguard the ranch. Did I get that motion right, John?
Yes.
Okay, and we have a second on that. All in favor? We would please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. John brought us as the board member this idea of doing this Flock system, and we looked at it and thought, this makes a lot of sense. It's cheap. It's going to cost each of us, $10 a year to get our first little foot into this thing, and we get a 2-year trial to see how that works out. So I'm going to turn this section over to John. I know a lot of you have things to say on this, and hopefully we'll get to the point pretty quickly. We're already doing it. Okay, so let me turn this over to John.
So there's going to be a ranch security line item budget item, if I'm saying that correctly. And from this point forward, it's $10 a year. And if LPR Flock Safety doesn't work out for us, we'll try something else. Technologies daily.
5B, which was the pause flock camera project, and there's been a lot of work on that. And I think Carol, you were going to handle that report.
Yeah. So this is kind of more of a prepared kind of for the purposes of the concerns that we've got in the form of emails, but also kind of a update, which will come towards the end in regards to where that project ended up landing. So, so we've put on here that the flock camera project is paused. However, like I said, I'll get to exactly where we're at with it towards the end. But there were a number of different concerns that came up in emails that I wanted to address. And that is that, and some of these are negative things, but I want to make sure that we clarify so that people know what's going on with the board and this particular project. So first of all, I'd like to correct those people who have concerns that the actions taken by the board to approve the project were unlawful. Per the CCNRs and is verified by the POA attorney, the board has the right to make decisions such as these. A vote of the membership is not necessary unless the board is seeking a special assessment. The board is able to increase membership assessments each year by 10%. And that's basically what was happening. It was actually less than 10% to try to create enough funding in the budget to make this improvement to the ranch. It would have been paid for as a result by just the regular operating assessments with no need for a special assessment, which would be something that would have exceeded the 10%. The CCNRs do not specifically mention ranch security. They do not, or they do state that the board has a duty to maintain property values, or maintain and improve property values. And the board has a broad leeway given to make improvements as they deem prudent. The CCNRs, Section 3C and D, the Articles of Incorporation, as well as the bylaws, give the board power to enter into contracts and authority to conduct any lawful business. The ARS 103302, parentheses 4, gives any nonprofit corporation, which is what Santa Fe Ranch POA is, the right to purchase, lease, or otherwise acquire and own, hold, improve, use, and otherwise deal with real or personal property as it deems appropriate. And the board exercised its right under the CCNRs to enter into the flock camera project. There was, however, there has, however, been no down payment made, and the board may cancel the agreement without penalty. A second. So there were some things that were a little concerning from the standpoint of some libelous statements about the board, misappropriating funds and committing unlawful acts, and the board strongly denies these statements. Furthermore, the board did not purchase a computer. This is kind of on a separate note, but it did come up in an email. We did not purchase a computer from Mary Miklos. The association owns a laptop that was to be used by Mary to assist with some data collection. And that actually goes back to well before we did the survey, I think a couple of years ago now. We purchased that laptop to help keep track of and to pull together all the information from that survey. And so that laptop is the association's laptop, and it was simply being used by Mary to assist in data collection, which is what we bought it for in the first place with the first project that we did.
What type of data was being collected? Was any of this data confidential? Why was an owner who was not elected collecting data?
There were some, other accusations that were a bit troubling, misinformation that was being passed around. At this point, really the whole issue of the flock camera project is a moot point because due to the actions of a couple of people within the property owners association, there were a couple of people who took it upon themselves to go around the board and contact flock directly. And I just wanted to let people know that that kind of interference in a contract situation that the board is engaged in, and again, I've already established that this was a lawful thing that we were doing. That going around us like that is unlawful for the membership to interfere with our ability to complete contracts that we have to do as part of the business of the association. And the flock safety group, before we had the opportunity to work through some of the concerns of the membership. And again, I want to make sure that you know that the negative feedback and some of the things that we were trying to deal with were basically brought up by less than 1% of the membership. We have 2,850 members in the association. We did get some positive feedback on it. In fact, when we first started this whole project was actually brought to our attention by a property owner who had some information about it and thought it might be a good thing for the ranch. And that's when the board got involved and looked into it. This wasn't the board's idea originally. I just want people to understand that. And because of the this interference with that happened before we even had an opportunity to get more input from the community, and
hopefully we'll get to the point pretty quickly. We're already doing it. Okay, so let me turn this over to John.
And to try to work through some of these things, which became apparent in the last meeting, and it was clear that people had really strong concerns about it, and the board listened to that.
And hopefully we'll get to the point pretty quickly. We're already doing it. Okay, so let me turn this over to John.
To the best that we could. And we wanted to address those things. We wanted to extend the period of time to give people an opportunity to, to voice their opinions. But unfortunately, having the couple of people who contacted Flock directly, Flock decided to cancel the contract and refuse to do business with us. Now, keep in mind that Flock has numerous systems throughout the state of Arizona. A lot of different associations do business with them. In fact, it's in the hundreds. So this isn't some fly-by-night group. And I really was disappointed that we weren't given the opportunity to, address some of these concerns. And I always hate when meetings start getting heated.
And hopefully we'll get to the point pretty quickly. We're already doing it. Okay, so let me turn this over to John.
But I what I really don't like is kind of this ongoing theme. And at this point, I'm the longest sitting member on the board, and that's, I guess it's been about 5 years. So I've sat on a number of different boards, over these past 5 years, and I have to say that this constant idea that the board is doing illegal things, that the board is misappropriating funds, that these things have been alleged by the same, kind of the same group.
Incorrect. This was my first board meeting and I have never participated in any property association business. It is inappropriate for you to speak about members for expressing their mistrust and not from lack of reason.
Over the years, nothing that we've done in any of these boards has been illegal, worthy of lawsuit. We've always relied on the expertise of professionals, including our attorneys, accountants, insurance company, the management company, so on and so forth. So, and again, I've stated this before when I was on previous boards. If I myself ever became aware or even suspected that there was something nefarious going on in this board, the management company, or any of the other things, I'd be the first one to throw a flag and speak up about that. I'm not afraid to do that. And so I don't know what we can do to really curtail that. It just seems to be an ongoing thing with the perspective of a small group of people within the association. But unfortunately for everybody involved, all 2,850 property owners, this small group has managed to stop the board from going through the process that we wanted to finish going through to see how this could all end up in a more positive way. So that's about where we're at with it. We've not spent any money. We're not out any money. And we're just kind of dead in the water on that. I don't think that there's any other things that we have, any other projects. Road maintenance is about the only thing that we're having to, kind of keep up with at this point. So that's about it as far as the secretary goes.
Thank you, Carol. That was very, very informative. And I was disappointed in where it ended up. Not so much as to whether the cameras were good or bad. I just,
Right.
me being the one on the phone talking to the executives at Flock, it was not a pleasant conversation to hear them talk to us. And it gave our whole branch and our association kind of a bad name. Okay.
Yeah. And just a quick throw in there. Sometimes, verbiage can be a big deal. And when people started
And hopefully we'll get to the point pretty quickly. We're already doing it. Okay. So let me turn this over to John.
people started throwing around the term surveillance cameras, they really took people who didn't understand the system in a whole different direction. I talked to some people who thought that these cameras were going to be scanning the area, that they were going to be recording people, that they could zoom in on people's property, like you see in the movies where you have like this room that has all these cameras, that can spy on people. And that was never the case. These were simply license plate readers. And this technology has been around for quite a while. My background is in law enforcement. When I was a police officer, we had plate readers on police cars and other, police vehicles. They would alert us if there were, if there was a stolen vehicle, things of that nature. And I think I mentioned in the meeting that, the police found this out first, and that is that if you're in a public place, especially if you're a police officer doing work within the community, there's no expectation of privacy for the police or anybody else for that matter. And things can be recorded, and we're recorded every day, regardless of where we're at. And this was just simply to do, to record license plates to help with, the comings and goings, and also as a deterrent for anybody who was coming into the development to commit crimes, mostly theft-related crimes. And also, I just wanted to mention that the number of thefts was played down quite a bit. But, if you're one of those people who did have your house burglarized or did have a shed or a trailer stolen or things like that, it's not a little deal to the people who were victimized. And so this would have been a very reasonably, priced way to have something that would help us, perhaps, again, like I said, deterrent, if anything else. If people know that their license plates are being recorded when they come into the ranch, they're less likely to come in and try to commit crimes. That's my professional opinion.
5, new business. And we have review action item here for sign replacements. Who had that one? Kelly?
I think Kelly told me there was this bill that came in for signs that.
Yes,
Are
there's
these signs
a,
that were
there's a,
done?
there's a proposal in your packet for signs.
Pages 4 through 10.
Pages 4 through 10. These signs we thought had been ordered back in July, August, but I never got the quote, so I had to resend it to us. The total is $2,943. And there's several of the signs.
Have these already been made?
No, not yet.
Because it's gonna throw my budget out really bad. It's gonna take me way over budget to do all these signs.
It can wait.
Wait until the new year.
Wait till the new year. You want to just table it?
If we could do some, like the most important, because I don't know, it seems like it's gonna put me
Split
way
it in
over.
half. It's just
Like we only budgeted 4,000 for the year and we're already at, I don't know where I'm at.
the lesser the number, the more the cost. So we can just table it until after the first of the year.
Because I'm really trying to make this budget work this year and,
I understand.
yeah.
Hitting our numbers right on right now or where we're at budget wise. I think we budgeted very well because we literally accounted for every mile that we would be grading this year and how often we're grading certain roads and also we put money aside for those special projects. I feel like we really are doing well with the budget and I don't think that we're going to have to increase the amount of that budget. If we hit really well by the end of the year, I'm going to be really pleased with that. So I think the road section is, because that's our main priority as the board. I think we've done a really good job in budgeting, and I've been in good communication with John and John's in communication with Ted. So it's like we've got a nice, well-oiled machine going with these roads. And
Yeah, so that's, like I said, if there's some, the most important ones that we need, then I would be okay with it. But, yeah, we're already at $2,400.
Yeah, some of it's the channel that needs to be bought and the others are the signs. And like I said, once you start,
We have about $1,560 left. So I don't know if you want to pick a couple of them that could get done and we could vote on that to get done. And then we could do the rest of the next year because then it might throw me off for next
no,
year. So
Sharon, that's not the way to do this order. I mean, I could go ahead and order the channel, but you're gonna pay double shipping because there's a lot of
Okay.
channel that he needs on this as well. I would just
Okay.
recommend that we table it after the first of the year.
that would be my recommendation. So I just want to put it in a budget perspective before we made any motion on that.
No problem. We'll go ahead and table it.
I
Yeah.
did have to increase our copies because when we have our mailing for the ballot and the annual meeting, that's what blew us out of the water last year. So I had to really beef that up because we're going to try as a nominating committee, keep it condensed, but there's still a lot that goes out in that mailing because everybody has to have that ballot. Everybody has to get that mailing. So I beefed that up by 3,000 this year, up to 15,000 just for copies.
Spend all your money.
So that was a bigger increase that I had. And postage, I had to go up, and I went up another 1,000, and it still may not be enough because they raised our rates 4 times last year. So I'm just wondering to just go ahead and bite the bullet and approve those signs for this year, because I'm not gonna have enough in the budget for them next year. You know, an insurance package, I went up to 21,000 because insurance keeps going up every year. And I also budgeted about 10,000 in reserve income. So we might have to tweak a few numbers before we approve a final. But I would need your opinions on that, your input.
Okay, well, it sounds like maybe we need to do just that. That's what I get out of this is
That's not gonna change the dollar figure, the 10%. It's just a matter of where she's gonna move.
Where we're gonna move the money out. Exactly.
Okay, all right, thank you.
That's all that's gonna matter. The 10% increase still needs to happen. It's gonna still happen. If that's not gonna change, we need it. We need the roads. That's our most important thing, right? That's
Right.
where most of this money is going. So, and we're doing rebuilds to make sure that those roads can be maintained more efficiently in the future and handle storms better, so that we can keep that, working and making it better in the future. So those projects gotta happen, or you can't just keep putting Band-Aids on everything,
All right, the number, what I'm hearing, Kelly's number stays the same. We may have to move a few items around, which is acceptable.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Correct. Somebody want to make that?
Would anybody like to make a motion to approve that budget?
I'll make a motion.
John Shays made a motion. Any second?
I have a que-
I can't second my own
I know.
budget, can I?
Then I'll provide a second.
Okay, good. Someone had a question.
Carol did.
We'll bring this to a question, board. Yes, Carol.
I just wanted to make sure that as far as the moving the line items around and so forth, that doesn't require, I mean, are we able to do this approval? Then do we have to vote again for the changes
No.
or?
No,
That's just day-to-day management issues.
the object is you're approving the 204, the 10% increase for 2025.
I gotcha.
Your treasurer is just gonna fine tune some of the line items.
Exactly.
And things will change throughout the year. I mean, if we get hit with a big monsoon, things are gonna change,
Yeah, but like I said, I don't have enough emergency road damage. If ideally, in a perfect world, I'd have 150,000 in there, because there's 2022, we've spent 146,000 on emergency road damage because that monsoon year was terrible. Then the next year, we only spent 42,000. So I was right in my budget, So now this year, we've only spent 500. So what happens when we get that big storm again? 40,000 going to be enough? It might, maybe not.
budget owners, do I have any comments or questions on the budget as presented?
You already got comment.
Okay, hearing none, we'll bring this to a vote. Board members, those in favor of the budget as presented, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, good work, Sharon. The budget is passed. Thank you. I know you put a lot of time in this, so again, thank you for all the hard work that you do.
Yeah, and I did it I had to do this after Dave died. It's been hard. It's been super
I know
hard.
it has, darling.
And then having all these people, like the one that just made a comment that we're punishing you. Are you kidding me? Yeah, we're punishing you. No, we're trying to do good things for you, Cindy. I'm sick of this. This is what I'm sick of right now. The
Okay.
negativity and totally naive, just so
on-
naive.
We'll
I think we need to move on.
Yeah,
we'll
we need
move
to
on.
move. I'm going to move on.
We're out of order on that, so we'll move on. This meeting is going to be following the annual board meeting. We are actually, just for everybody's information, we are moving the board meetings to quarterly. And the way I anticipate that working is that we'll have 2 Zoom meetings and we'll have 2 in-person meetings. There'll be the annual meeting, and then opposite of that in the annual calendar, there will be another one like we did in October. Okay, and then we'll have the Zoom meetings quarterly. And but
Trouble